Good morning and welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Clint Edison. We're certainly glad to have you. And you can see our program on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber's Channel 18. And today we have with us Mayor Clint Huth of Dunlap. And Mayor, it's good to have you with us.
Yes, glad to be here. Glad to be here. I know we've been wanting to do this for a long time and our schedules have finally worked out good.
Yes, I'm glad for that. I know when you've been in almost 6 months now.
Just about 5-6 months.
Yeah, and I know you were chief of police and you dealt with budgets and employees and stuff. But how is it different now that you're mayor? And
I was talking to someone just about this the other day. At the police department, obviously a lot less employees. Only had one department to worry about budget-wise, and that was the police department. But so that's obviously more employees. I'm not just focused on police now. Now I've got wastewater treatment, the water plant, city hall. You've got a lot more. But probably one of the things that's kind of interesting is as the police chief, we had our foundation was the law. What is the law? That's your founding line, and and you treat everybody fairly, you treat everybody as the law says, and that's your backing, I guess you could say. Well, now in the mayor's office, we still operate within the law and we have to operate in the law, but and this was no shock to me or anything, but you have different groups of people that have different priorities. They have different directions they want to see things go. You may have, let's say, economic development. Some people that's where their focus is and that's where they want to strive. Somebody else their focus may be, you need to pay more attention to our infrastructure. And some people may say, you need to spend more emphasis on parks and recreation. So everybody has a different priority, but obviously all those have to be priorities for me, and so you have that balance, and and you kind of go from that point is that balance, and and obviously in government you're going to make some happy, or some like your decisions, some may not like your decisions, and some think you should, they're all right, but it's just it's a balancing act, to do the best in all areas, for the betterment of the people. So.
Well, I know this summer your biggest problem was when was the water park going to open up?
The water, the splash pad. I mean, it's great. It's a great addition to the community. Kind of the thing, and people come from all over to use it.
Yes, they do.
And that's great. And we had some warranty issues with the tank, so that delayed it in opening. That was day one in office. If there was one thing I got the majority of the calls on, it was on the splash pad. When is that going to open? But that's good, and then we got it up and running, and then there was some other issues with the line, so then we had to shut it back down, and but finally, we got a handle. It took some time. I hope we had it open up long enough this season, for everybody to enjoy it, and that's going to be, the splash pad is definitely something we're going to keep up going, and it's going to be some maintenance to it, some ongoing preventative maintenance that we'll have to do. But it's a great asset to the community.
Well, I know you were excited about being mayor, but what were some of the things that when you came into office you go, oh man, I didn't know about that?
Well, I guess probably where I've made, I guess you could say maybe gain the most knowledge is in our wastewater treatment plant. For years, the folks that have run it in the past, Gary and Sammy Hickson, and now we have Derek Summers down there and his staff down there. It's kind of like, okay, I know they're there. I know what they do in a on the surface, but that was, the integral workings of the wastewater treatment plant. I wasn't really all that knowledgeable on that. So I've really kind of dived in that. I guess I've dived into the sewer plant since I've been in office. And I've learned a lot out of that, just going down there and spending, so I've got a working knowledge of what's going on and what's needed down there. And let me tell you, I've just got to really brag on Derek Summers and his staff down there. Those guys are, they're really dedicated. I'm used to seeing police officers, dedicated to their work and trying to do their best and are passionate about police work. You've got the same thing there at the sewer plant here in town. Those, that staff down there, they're just, it just really makes you feel good that you've got employees there that are as dedicated to their jobs as they are. And, I joke with Derek all the time and I go, well, you guys are passionate about poo, But that's an area that, since being in office, that has got a lot of my time and a lot of my attention. Obviously, our sewer infrastructure is very important to me. Right. We have a lot of work that needs to get done. And now is really a great time for that. The Mayor Land, the previous administration, they had applied for several years for an EDA grant. Didn't get it in the past, but we were awarded that about a month or so ago. And that's a $2.2 million project. Wow. That will go to rehabilitating our plant itself. And then with the American Rescue Act funding that's coming down, that's going to be some more revenue coming into the city through that program. That we can use for various different things, but one of the things that they really want us to use it on is our water and our sewer infrastructure. So we're in the process now of working on those plans with those departments. Okay, how do we want to wisely use this money? So maybe we can get out here and we can replace some of these aging lines, right, and hopefully expand it out a little bit as well too.
Well, that money's going to come in a good time for us because we really needed the money.
We did. Your utilities, especially your sewer and the water, those are separate from tax dollars.
Right.
We can't use our tax dollars for the utilities. We can't use our utilities, for things that tax dollars have to go for. So, you want to keep your rates low so it's more affordable for the citizens. And, we need to do that, but we also have to consider, we got to have money for operations, we got to have money for maintenance and things like that. So when you keep your rates as low as you can, you might not be building up as much of a surplus to do these repairs. So this money is really going to be a blessing to us.
Because I know in the past they've talked about these projects with updating costing as much as $4 or $5 million. And that's a lot of money.
Well, in our sewer plant, the last major rehabilitation it had to was back in the 80s.
Really?
So you're talking the plant hadn't really been updated in 40 years. Wow. So it's very very needed. And one thing that I really like, it's another thing that's really impressed me about our sewer system is. Like Derek Summers there at the plant, he's like, yeah, Mayor, we could use this and we can use that, but Chris Cordell out in the field, who takes care of our lines, he needs it more than I do. Well, then you talk to Chris and he's like, well, yeah, we can use this and we can use that, but Derek really needs it at the plant. So they're both looking out for each other.
Well, that's good.
And that's a great thing to have right there. That just showed me we really have a lot of teamwork there.
Well, I've noticed this in times past too, even before you were mayor. A lot of the city employees, they're all like that. They're just helping each other. They're helping one another. They help anybody that comes in. They're all helpful. And
that's what we want to do, and that's what we want to keep going, is that teamwork and, the employees working together, the employees working with the community, to get the job done at hand.
Well, that helps for good PR.
Oh, it doesn't hurt.
Because I know you get some bad PR every now and then.
Well, and that's to be expected. We're going to get some, and not everything's going to be perfect, but we're going to give it our best efforts.
Well, and I know in some of the meetings I've been to before, sometimes the city is limited as to what they can do on certain things, and people don't understand that. They just see the problem and they want it fixed, and they don't realize that maybe you can't fix that. That's kind of out of your authority.
Yeah, there's some things, and a lot of times that goes to we can't make improvements on personal property. Obviously that's that'll get me thrown in jail.
Yeah.
So you have to look at that as well too, but there may be areas that we may not be able to go in ourselves and make improvements in a certain area or on a certain piece of property because it's privately owned. But there may be other avenues out there. There may be other sources or entities out there that can come in and assist. So we want to partner with that, and kind of leverage that stuff so we can, take care of our citizens.
Right. Well, other than the sewer and water that we've talked about, what are some of the other plans you'd like to come through with, or some things that are on back burner?
Infrastructure's a big thing, obviously, for me. Economic development, tourism, obviously, those are big things for me as well too. But and my thinking is if we don't have that infrastructure in place, the growth's not going to be there.
Right.
If you want growth, you want expansion, you got to have that infrastructure to support it. But some other big projects, that we're looking at, outside of that, some, working with TDOT, we have some grants that we've applied for. To one thing that everybody hears a lot about and everybody sees, and that's our traffic here through the middle of town. We have that one main highway coming right through the middle of town, and it may not be maxed out 24/7, but everybody knows it can get bad out there on 127 for our little town. So we have some goals there. We want to try to make some improvements there. Like I said, we've applied for some grants. One of them is a $15 million grant. That would really make some big improvements. Probably one of the biggest things on it would be what we hope to fix is the bridge there at Cooks Creek. That thing has needed widened for years.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we've implemented into the grant proposal is let's see about widening this bridge. What can we do? So there's a lot going on with that too. And then our parks and recreation, that's another area that's really taken off. Parks and recreation, that can, obviously it increases your tourism. That can increase your economic development. It's not just about throwing a place out there for the kids to play, which is important, but that can also lead to other things. So it's all, all this stuff is kind of tied together.
Well, people move in when they see things like that, and businesses come. And
I know when Huebner came into town, when in one of their visits, that was one of the things that they wanted to look at was, what do we have, because they're thinking they're employees.
Right.
What are some things that are in place here within the city that their employees can take part in, and that's one of the things they looked at was what do we have for our parks? They looked at our greenways, and those for that, that quality of life is what they look for. So. We want to be able to provide that too. So.
And what about the landing over there by the river for the kayaks? And
the river access, that's probably one of the first projects that we got on. We're in the works on that. We had to go out and kind of leverage some more funding for that. That was a project that started out simply as a $50,000 project. It's kind of morphed and it's grown, and we've got some other organizations involved in that, primarily the Lyndhurst Foundation, and so they're on board with that program. They're a huge contributor to this project, and so it's kind of grown, and it's kind of, I guess you could say, maybe larged in scale a little bit from the original. But that we do have the funding for that secured. We've got everything in place. And then it's a process of working with the engineer, getting all that worked out, and then working with the contractor for the work, who's actually going to be doing the construction. That's kind of where we're at right now. We hope within the next week or two to have our pre-construction conference. All of our documentation in place. And hopefully we're going to be seeing some activity over there pretty soon. We had a few delays along the way. Obviously when we're talking about the river and putting a landing in, it would have been best to do in July and August.
Right.
When the river's low. So that was the original goal that we were shooting at, but there was just some things out there that delayed that. We obviously still moving forward. It's just, it might be a little bit harder for them now with the river not going to be as low as we'd like. So,
well, and, a lot of people don't realize, or maybe they do realize, the canoeing and kayaking and everything is really a popular sport.
Outdoor tourism right now is huge. It's big, and nobody has a better location for outdoor tourism than East Tennessee. Like you said, the kayaking, the cycling, hiking. Now we're getting in. We have our hang gliders, our parasailers. And now rock climbing is getting to be a thing. All these outdoor tourism things are getting to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's not just us promoting it. The state of Tennessee, they're really pushing outdoor tourism. Was in a meeting here not too long ago with Mayor Kelly, the new mayor in Chattanooga, and
excuse me.
And we're kind of taking a regional look. Mayor Kelly, he's big on, he wants to incorporate these rural areas like us, into their regional tourism plans as well too. So that's exciting there as well.
Well, yeah, because that brings everybody together, and they may spend the night over there, but they come over here to do their
right.
And like you said, there's I think a new rock climbing venue on
Fredonia.
Fredonia that's I'm not sure it's open yet. It may.
I don't think it's quite open yet, but it's exciting, and and then cycling. We talked about cycling. Cycle Sequatchie, 450 cyclists from 16 different states came into our community. Shannon Burke that sponsored that, put that event together. He did a post-event survey. And the majority of those that responded, one of the questions is, would you ever consider coming back, for other events or, coming back? And they're like, the vast majority of them were most definitely yes. And that's what we like to see. These people come in and spend their monies in our shops and our restaurants, and, that's a good win for us there. And then along with the cycling on the road, mountain biking.
Yes.
And that's starting to take off a little bit as well too. So a lot of stuff out there in the area of tourism right now.
Right, and there may not be that many people here necessarily that are involved, but they'll come here.
They'll come here. They'll come here and they'll spend their money here.
Yeah, they'll take their money. Well, that's a good thing, because I know tourism. When you look at tourism, and you get the tax dollars, people come in, spend their money, and then they go home. So it's not like we're having we might have a crowd for the day or two, but after that it's gone when the event is over, and then we got their money.
And that's a real struggle, because you obviously we want growth and we want some development, but yet we never want to lose that small town charm. We like it small. We don't want to be another Chattanooga. We don't want to be another Nashville or something like that. We want to keep our roots. We want to keep our community what our community's always been. So you got a little bit of a challenge there, but with some good planning and things like that, we can do that.
Well, many years ago, 30 and 40 years ago, I used to think, how do people find Dunlap? But now Dunlap's really getting on the map in a lot of areas.
It is, and obviously the internet is a big thing that that brought that about, obviously, and then we have. We have citizens that are all for growth. They want us to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm sure we have some citizens that would like us to get, the size of maybe Crossville or something like that. But then on the other side, you've got other people like, no, I don't want no more red lights. Three's enough. We don't need to get any bigger. So we got to work to find that happy medium.
Well, I know, talking about infrastructure, one of the things that even the state, I remember going to a meeting when the state was here and they was showing different things, was sidewalks, because we see a lot of people that walk. How's that coming along? Is that
we recently this our bicycle and pedestrian master plan, that started, that was already in place, and they were in progress of working that when I came into office. I was there to see that get finished up, and we had a lot of good input from the citizens at our public meetings on that. And sidewalks are big. I think we can utilize our sidewalks along with our greenway system, where people, because more people are health conscious.
right?
People like, especially this time of year, now that it's cooled off a little bit, more big into, let's go out and take a walk kind of thing. And, we want to lead, have it, your greenways, maybe let that lead into our sidewalks, like here in the middle of town, kind of incorporate our businesses along in with it, almost like another mode of travel, through sidewalks and the greenways.
Yeah, and that would be nice, because it keeps them off the road, because sometimes I know some people they don't have anywhere to.
Well, and we looked at, in the master plan, that was one of the things we looked at, was the different options of how can we do this. Can we put a bike lane in the middle of town, or do we lose the parking lanes and make things a little bit wider? And the center of town is going to be the hard nut to crack.
Yeah.
Now, I think what we ended up agreeing on, in theory, outside of the downtown area, was having the sidewalk, kind of like a shared sidewalk, shared bike lane, separate altogether from, not just right there on the side of the road, but have a little separation in between the shared bicycle pedestrian walk and the roadway itself. Plus I think aesthetically, that looks a lot better as well too.
Right.
Obviously a lot safer for everyone involved too. So.
Right, because then motorists don't have to worry about hitting somebody or having to go around in oncoming traffic. Face.
It's a little congested here, but we do have some options here in the middle of town, so and we'll be giving that some more thought. But as these grants continue to come in, we hope to see those get implemented. So.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. Got that. Well, what has been the hardest thing you've had to do while you've been in the 6 months? What's some of the hardest things you've had to face?
Oh, we had some, not really hard. I mean, they were easy decisions because they had to be done. But we had some, kind of like some emergency repairs, maybe at the water plant here in town. That's all of a sudden, when you get the phone call, it's like, hey, we just had a pump go down, and he's like, okay, what do we got to do to get this fixed? So we keep the water flowing. Not really hard, but it's just, those unexpected things like that. You do the preventative maintenance to do your best to keep that stuff from happening, but it's still going to happen. As far as really hard, there really hadn't been any hard decisions to make. It's juggling all the different projects. We have a lot of projects ongoing, with the park, with the greenway, the river access, our traffic in the middle of town. We've got, the sewer plant rehab. We had a large water tank rehabilitation that we're finishing up. We still have a completion of Coops Creek 2 there at the, where the greenway comes out on Jones Drive, trying to get that project finished up. Streetscape 2 by the courthouse, tying in Harris Park into the greenway. That's another project. So it's that juggling of all these different projects, and that can be a little bit of a challenge. Now, and then obviously when you first get in office, meetings and not just here locally, but also regionally and even at the state level. I guess a hard job that, I've never had to juggle a schedule or a calendar like I have now, but it's good, and I want to take part in these regional and state meetings as well. But I tell you, the ones I love the best are our little local meetings just right here in town. Valley Fest and, Friends of the Library, ABW, just those little community groups, I'd much rather go to any of them than, have to go over to Chattanooga for a big meeting with the state, or something like that. I like the little hometown meetings a lot better.
Well, you've got people of all different age groups and all different, they have different ideas about how to do different things, like you said, the Friends of the Library and other groups. So it's all these groups working together and trying to make their projects better, and sometimes just putting out a helping hand, working.
Well, and it's networking's big, no different than, these regional and state meetings. Obviously, those are important to me as well too, because that's where we can rub elbows and make partnerships and network with others, to get certain things in our community that we want. So those are important. But it's these little community groups in town is what makes us what we are, and it's the people in those organizations, the Cancer Network Society, all these little things out there, is what really makes us who we are. The Alzheimer's Walk. Had an Alzheimer's Walk. Diane Harmon and a bunch of volunteers put that together. Great event, I can really see that becoming an annual tradition here in Dunlap. Really went well, but that's just another group right there. You have the Next Step Resource Center, another great organization that does great things. That's really become a part of the community, and you like seeing these little things, and it's all these people, they all work together. Even though someone, I don't agree with that, but if it's for the betterment of the community, it's like, okay, let's move forward.
Well, and the thing of it is, too, as we mentioned earlier, when people see all these groups working together, they say, well, hey, I'd like to be a part of that group. And they want to be a part, and maybe that'll bring them to live here.
And that's what you want. You want your citizens to be involved in those issues and in those organizations that are important to them. That's what makes them so successful. Everybody has a passion for something, and when you can bring them to the table together like that, that's one reason why I think the chamber is as successful as it is it it leverages all these little groups together for the betterment of the whole community. And when I say community, I don't just mean the city of Dunlap. Our whole county, the whole valley. There's a lot of great things going on, not just here in Sequatchie County, but up in Bledsoe and Marion, and working with the leaders in those other counties, is just it's exciting. It's an exciting time.
Well, one of those things is the Scenic Byway.
The Scenic Byway is a big thing that everybody's going to take part in. The river access.
Right.
We're doing our little bit here in the city, but there's also plans, not just in Sequatchie County, but in Bledsoe and Marion as well. And the state's a real big driving force in that. So.
Well, and when we start getting all that promoting, then that again will grow.
It'll grow, and we just got to keep in mind with growth there's headaches.
Yeah.
But we'll work through them.
Well, is there anything we haven't discussed you'd like to talk about?
Probably the big thing right now in local government, not just local government, but even state and the federal government is, I touched on it briefly, was the American Rescue Act.
Uh-huh.
And these funds that are coming down from the federal government. I'm not sure how many citizens, how much they may be aware of it or not. But these funds are, what we refer to as really they're generational funds.
Uh-huh.
Now it's exciting to be able to receive those funds and make improvements and plan for growth. But we've, in talking with County Executive Cartwright, our early discussions on this is, let's sit back, let's not rush into anything. We really want to work together to leverage their dollars along with our dollars so we can get the most bang for our buck.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of guidance coming down from the federal government and even the state comptroller's office on what those funds can be used. But when I look at these funds, we haven't seen anything like this since FDR and the New Deal, back in the 30s. So we really want to use our heads on this, and we really want to plan it out smartly, because these funds, should be used to, for the generations ahead of us.
Right.
How can we spend this? Because this is generational money. Now I'm going to talk personal politics here. But when I see all these funds coming out to local governments across the whole nation, the first thing that popped into my mind is like, my God, who's going to be paying this money back?
Yeah.
We're going to be long gone before a dent's even made in paying this money back. So it's going to be our kids, it's going to be our grandkids, it's going to be our grandkids' kids, and their great-grandkids, are going to be paying this, so obviously we want to use this generational money that I like to refer it to. What can we do now with these funds that will have an impact on the generations ahead of us?
Right.
And county government, County Executive Cartwright and the commission there, they're in agreement. We're in agreement on that. We don't want to just run out and say, okay, well let's let's go spend the money because we got it. We really want to use it wisely. And in the weeks and months ahead, I'm sure that myself, the city leaders, as well as the county, we're going to be reaching out, for input, from the public on, what are your thoughts? Where would you like to see us go with this? I don't want this to just be Clint Huth's decision. I want it to be, a community thing. This is how we want to move forward. So that's, I kind of get tickled. Executive Cartwright will throw this out. He said, it's a good time to be a politician with all this money getting thrown at.
Well, that's probably true. Well, and it'll probably be like when you buy a computer, you want to buy more than what you need for right now, because down the road, 6 months, a year, you're going to need more.
Right, yeah. It's like if you're building a new building or something, you want to think 25, 30, 50 years down the road. With this money, I really feel we need to be thinking 50, 100 years out the road. How is this going to impact, how is this going to impact, 100 years from now? that's kind of the thought process we have. Something that will, we need to invest these funds in things that will promote growth, that will promote jobs, that will promote, residential development, economic development in the years and years to come ahead, so that, my great grandson, whoever he may be, will be able to reap some of the benefits of the decisions we're making today. So and when you think about it like that, it's a little bit intimidating. It's like, man, I really got to have my A game on for this.
Yeah, you do. You really do, because like you said, when a lot of people think that, I know when we bought the first computer we bought it more than we needed, because we knew it was going to be different. And 6 months down the road, that model was already
outdated.
And so, that's what you have to do. Like you say, you have to really think ahead. And sometimes people don't understand why you're thinking that route. But, when you think of where we are, centrally located between all the interstates, and you have transportation going all around us, and we could be our infrastructure here, we could have plants or whatever, some kind of service that could be shipped out, that might be, I don't know.
I tell you, our location is, number one, just physically where we're located at is such a huge asset to us. And then just the natural beauty in our valley is just as big another asset is where we are physically on the map. We're sitting good. We really, really are when it comes to that.
Well, and like I say, we may draw some people in that we're not aware of yet that could be some big time people that come in here.
Well, and that's true, and we do have a lot of folks that are moving in. The residential growth, primarily in the county areas up on the mountains, is just unbelievable. Yes. And some people like that. Some people, I don't like all these people moving in. But now a lot of them that I talked to, I met a gentleman yesterday, moved up, built a house on Lewis Chapel, and has personal assets that he wants to invest in the community. And I've seen that a lot with a lot of the new residents that have come in, is they want to be part of the community. They have knowledge, and they have an experience in things that are going to be a benefit to us.
Right.
And plus I have to look at my own situation. I was one of those that moved in here 30 some years ago and fell in love with the community, and and you just love it so much. I've never had a desire to move away from this community. It's like, okay, I'm here, like it says, I want to be rooted here. Yeah. And if you have people coming in with that mentality of, they want to make the community better, and we want to grow together, that's a good thing.
Right.
What we want to avoid is people that are coming in that are going to be a drain on us.
Yeah, right.
So let's tap into the assets that they bring with us, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Right, because they bring in some things maybe we haven't thought of, or maybe they have experience in that we don't have and we need here. And they could say, here's an idea.
And then sometimes, we have to be tactful and go, well, that may not work here.
Yeah, that's true.
So, it's a good balance. You like new ideas and you like fresh ideas, but we don't, again, I think we really want to maintain, our community's history, our culture, our belief system. So we want to maintain that as well too, so we got to have that good balance there.
Right, we wouldn't want something to come in that brought in a different crowd that we just didn't want around. And I say that nicely.
Oh yeah. We don't want to bring in, thugs and bank robbers and stuff like that. That's what I'm thinking. We don't want to bring them folks in.
No, they can stay where they're at. Was there anything else you'd like to add?
I can't think of anything other than thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it.
It's been a great day. Well, listen, you can see this interview on, again, BTC Fiber's YouTube page, as well as BTC Fiber's Channel 18. and we appreciate you, and like us and subscribe. Hey everybody, this is Clint Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Brought to you by Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, your full-service telecommunications provider right here in the Sequatchie Valley.